Hello, and welcome back to Articulate with Steve McJones. Guess what? I still don't have a guess. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to go through some of my favorite posts posted from the subreddit r/joke. And I want to tell you, I really like this subreddit. Because, number one, big dad joke advocate. I don't like that as a title because dad jokes are typically cheesy. And then people that say I love dad jokes. I don't like that title. But secretly that's my core, right? And secretly, as I tell every single listener that listens to this podcast. But seriously, I mean, just puns are like the basis of comedy, I think, in general, especially like clever comedy. And when used right, like in Shakespeare, they have double entendres and all that sort of stuff. But also, it's the same reason I like some of these jokes, the same reason I like comedy in general, is because there's super long jokes that are all kind of convoluted. Not super long, but long enough to where the build-up gets kind of more suspenseful until there's a big payoff. It's a whole thing, and I really enjoy jokes like that. So yeah, I figured this could be fun for both of us because going through some of these I've forgotten already. This was like an idea I had forever ago, and I've just kind of saved some posts here and there randomly, so it'd be fun to go back through it together. And if you want to grab a drink or grab a toke or whatever, you do what you got to do. A little bit of PCP, a little bit. I listened to this Joe Rogan podcast with Dr. Carl Hart, I think his name was. Big drug guy, and he was like, yeah, I mean, I snort a little bit of heroin, sometimes when I'm trying to relax, and sounds kind of goofy, but actually the way he put it is like kind of smart, and which is weird to say, but like if you listen to the episode, drug users, drugs are drugs no matter what. If you're a responsible adult, you can handle anything. At least that's how he put it. I'm not saying that I'm a big advocate for heroin, but if I was with that guy in a legal country and got some clean heroin and just snorted a little bit, I'm not opposed to the idea. I'll say that. So let's get into it. This one's called A Sensitive Guy. A woman meets a man in a bar. They talk, they connect, they end up leaving together. They get back to his place, and as he shows her around his apartment, she notices that one wall of his bedroom is completely filled with soft, sweet, cuddly teddy bears. There are 3 shelves in the bedroom, with hundreds and hundreds of cute, cuddly teddy bears, carefully placed in rows covering the entire wall. It was obvious that he had taken quite some time to lovingly arrange them, and she was immediately touched by the amount of thought he had put into the organized display. There were small bears all along the bottom shelf, medium-sized bears covering the length of the middle shelf, and huge, enormous bears running all the way along the top shelf. She found it strange for an obviously masculine guy to have such a large collection of teddy bears, but doesn't mention this to him, and is actually quite impressed by his sensitive side. They share a bottle of wine and continue talking. After a while, she finds herself thinking, oh my god, maybe this guy could be the one? Maybe he could be the future father of my children? She turns to him and kisses him lightly on the lips. He responds warmly. They continue to kiss, the passion builds, and he romantically lifts her in his arms and carries her into his bedroom, where they rip off each other's clothes and make hot, steamy love. She is so overwhelmed that she responds with more passion, more creativity, more heat than she has ever known. After an intense, explosive night of raw passion with this sensitive guy, they are lying there together in the afterglow. The woman rolls over, gently strokes his chest, and asks coyly, well, how was it? The guy gently smiles at her, strokes her cheek, looks deeply into her eyes, and he says, help yourself to any prize from the middle shelf. The man rolls over and asks coyly, so how was it? Wonderful, she smiles. I was talking to the bears. Oh god, this is worse. That was one of the comments. This is a dirty joke my 85-year-old granddad told to our whole family by memory. Oh, see, this is what I love. This was like a family sitting around a table with some old man. He's not even part of the family. He's just telling the joke. And then they're like, what? I mean, that was good, yeah, but you should leave, I think. And then they give him food. And then he dies at the table. Rest in peace. A male whale and a female whale, whale, were swimming off the coast of Japan when they noticed a whaling ship. The male whale recognized it as the same ship that had harpooned his father many years earlier. He said to the female whale, "Let's both swim under the ship and blow out of our air holes at the same time, and it should cause the ship to turn over and sink." They tried it, and sure enough, the ship turned over and quickly sank. Soon, however, the whales realized the sailors had jumped overboard and were swimming to the safety of shore. The male was enraged that they were going to get away and told the female, "Let's swim after them and gobble them up before they reach the shore." At this point, he realized the female was becoming reluctant to follow him. "Look," she said, I went along with the blowjob, but I absolutely refused to swallow the semen." A father whale and his son are swimming when the son whale asks his father, "Where did I come from?" The father whale replies, "From my penis, son." The son rolls his eyes and said, "Thanks, Dad," to which the father whale replies, "You're welcome, son. You're welcome." See, top comment, not as good as the original joke, but I like the wordplay on that one. I absolutely refuse to swallow semen. It's like, she went along with the blowjob though. At that point, it's like you're already in it. So you just go kill some people along at the end there. So, the only two white actors in Black Panther are Martin Freeman, who played Bilbo Baggins, and Andy Serkis, who played Gollum. They're the token white guys. Anyways, so Irish daughter had not been home for over 5 years. Upon her return, her father cursed her heavily. "Where have you been?" That's how it's written. "Where have you been this time, child? No. Where have you been all this time, child? Why did you not write us? Not even..." You see, I could do an Irish accent for this, but I still don't think it would work with the way that it's typed out. Why did you not write us? Not even a line. Why didn't you call? Can you not understand what you put your old mother through? The girl, crying, replied, "Dad, I became a prostitute." "You what? Get out of here, you shameless harlot, you sinner. You're a disgrace to this Catholic family." "Okay, Dad, as you wish." "I only came back to give Mom this luxurious fur coat, title deed to a 10-bedroom mansion, plus a $5 million savings certificate. For me little brother, this gold Rolex. And for ye, Daddy, the sparkling new Mercedes limited edition convertible that's parked outside, plus a membership to the country club." See, I don't even think those, Irish people could say those words. I don't think that's, illegal. But she takes a breath. "And an invitation for ye to all spend New Year's Eve on board my new yacht in Rivera." What was it you said you had become?" says Dad. Girl crying again. "A prostitute, Daddy." Oh my goodness, you scared me half to death, girl. I thought you said a Protestant. Come here and give your old dad a hug." Yeah, that's a joke that outlines the greediness of individuals and how they will turn on family because of their weird morals and then turn back on family because of their weird morals. Anyways, what is the difference between a police officer and a bullet? When a bullet kills someone else, you know it's been fired. It's a pretty loaded joke there. Anyways, 20 years from now, right? 20 years from now, kids are gonna think, "Baby, it's cold outside" is really weird. And we're gonna have to explain that it has to be understood as a product of its time. You see, it used to get cold outside. Global warming jokes. Fun. Isn't it fun that the world's going to shit? It's one of my favorite things, at least. A woman goes to buy a parrot. The prices are $100, $200, and $15. She asks why the last one is so cheap. "Because he used to live in a brothel," says the shopkeeper. She pays $15. When she gets home, the parrot says, "Fuck me, a new brothel." The woman laughs. When her daughters get home, the parrot says, "Fuck me, 2 new prozzies." The girls laugh too. When the dad gets home, the parrot says, "Fuck me, Pete, haven't seen you for weeks." Hey, listen. What is the most expensive video streaming service at this time in history? College. Yeah, I had to get a stick it to the system joke in there for sure, because fuck college for sure. But also, it's a pretty solid joke. I like that one. I hope Elon Musk never gets involved in a scandal. Elon Gate would be really drawn out. I like that one. I don't know. Elongate would be. It would. It would. So a wife decides to take her husband Dave to a strip club for his birthday. I don't know why. It's his birthday. You know what? Let's take him out. Seems like a cool guy. Dave. They arrive at the club, and the doorman says, "Hey, Dave, how you doing?" His wife is puzzled and asks if he'd been to this club before. "Oh, no," says Dave. "He's on my bowling team." When they're seated, a waitress asks Dave if he'd like his usual and brings over a Budweiser. His wife is becoming increasingly uncomfortable and says, "How did she know that you drink a Budweiser?" "She's in the ladies' bowling league, honey. You know, we share lanes with them." A stripper then comes over to the table, throws her arms around Dave, and says, "Hi, Davey, you want your usual table dance, big boy?" Dave's wife, now furious, grabs her purse and storms out of the club. Dave follows and spots her getting into a cab. Before she can slam the door, he jumps in beside her. He tries desperately to explain how the stripper must have mistaken him for someone else, but his wife is having none of it. She is screaming at him at the top of her lungs, calling him every name in the book. The cabbie turns his head and says, "Looks like you picked up a real bitch tonight, Dave." Dave seems like a dickhead. Alright, after reading that a second time, I will admit Dave seems like a dickhead. But, well, situationally, it's pretty funny. If I had $1 for every time someone over 40 told me my generation sucks, then I could afford a house in the economy that they ruined, actually. Oh, my dad said people shouldn't get ribbons just for participating because it rewards them for losing. So I took down his Confederate flag. These quick ones, they'll get you. I'm a big fan. I wish I was this smart to come. You know what? I will come up one day with enough jokes to fill an entire podcast that are like similar to these, but I don't have that capacity yet. I got to really hone in on that skill. So for now, this is what we got. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you're having as much as a good time as I am right now, because this is amazing to me. I get to do this. This is for fun, but also as like a podcast episode, which in a sense is work, but also like it feels like I'm being productive right now while I'm having a drink and reading off jokes that genuinely make me laugh. So however that makes you feel, here we are. A woman was in bed with her lover when she heard her husband opening the front door. In a panic, she told her lover, "Hurry, stand in the corner. Don't move until I tell you to. Just shut your eyes and pretend you're a statue." At the moment her husband walked into the room, he said, "What's this, honey?" "Oh, that's just a statue," she replied nonchalantly. "The Smiths bought one for their bedroom, and I liked it so much I got one for us too." They went to sleep, and then around 3 o'clock in the morning the husband got out of bed, went to the kitchen, and came back with a sandwich and a glass of milk. "Here," he said to the statue, "eat something. I stood like an idiot at the Smiths for 3 days and nobody offered me so much as a glass of water." The first comment is, well, I guess the Smiths didn't give a fuck. I don't, that's probably a joke, but I just like, they just didn't give a fuck. 3 days. Can you imagine going that long without even as much as a glass of milk? If I had a dime for every time I didn't understand what was going on, I'd be like, why y'all keep giving me these dimes? I like that. I forgot about that one. It's why y'all keep giving me this dime? It sounds like it should be out of I Think You Should Leave. Why are you giving me these dime? You got games on your phone? So anyways, a mother was walking down the hall when she heard a humming sound coming from her daughter's bedroom. When she opened the door, she found her daughter naked on the bed with a vibrator. "What are you doing?" she exclaimed. The daughter replied, "I'm 35 and still living at home with my parents, and this is the closest thing I'll ever get to a husband." Later that week, the father was in the kitchen and her... I forgot. Later that week, the father was... Hold on, give me a sec. Later that week, the father was in the kitchen and heard a humming sound coming from the basement. When he went downstairs, he found his daughter naked on the sofa with her vibrator. "What are you doing?" he exclaimed. The daughter replied, "I'm 35 and still living at home with my parents, and this is the closest thing I'll ever get to a husband." A couple of days later, the mother heard the humming sound again, this time from the living room. In there, she found her husband watching the Super Bowl on the television with the vibrator buzzing away beside him. "What are you doing?" she exclaimed. He replied, "Watching the game with my son-in-law." No, I like that one. No, I do. Because I just like the image of a guy watching a Super Bowl. Like, it's not as good as I think, but I like it. Anyways, my girlfriend told me this joke 10 years ago, and we've been married 9 years to this day. 9 years today. To this day. I don't know why. He had to include that at the beginning for the karma, for sure. For, like, the sentiment, I guess. But this is the joke that kept a couple together. This is by the way, for future couples that are about to get married or plan on getting married, it just takes one joke, alright? So just get one joke down, then you'll be married for 10 years. At least. Maybe they got divorced right after this, but that's not important. What's important is they got 10. Anyways, a penguin is driving to the mall when all of a sudden his engine starts running really rough and smoke is coming from under the hood. Luckily, there's an auto repair shop right next to the mall, so he pulls in there. The mechanic says he'll be glad to take a look, but he won't be able to get to it for a couple hours. The penguin says that's fine and walks across the street to the mall. He kills time walking around the mall, does some window shopping, buys an ice cream cone, etc. Finally, 2 hours are up, and he goes back to the mechanic. The penguin says, "Have you had time to look at my engine?" The mechanic says, "Yeah, it looks like you blew a seal." The penguin says, No, that's just ice cream." This is the first comment. I also heard a joke about a penguin 10 years ago. Guy goes to a prostitute, and this is the first time I'm reading this, by the way. Guy goes to a prostitute and asks what she can do. She asks him how much money does he have. The guy says, "Only $10. The prostitute says, "For $10, I can give you a penguin." The guy figures this is like the new lingo, so he pays her the money. In an alleyway, she pulls down his pants and starts blowing him. Just as he tells her he is about to come, she gets up and walks away. The guy waddles after her with his pants around his ankles and yells, "Wait, come back!" This joke is much better told verbally when you can demonstrate a penguin walk. But she didn't give him a penguin. That would have been a good twist. Like, if he started doing that, and then, like, another, like, baby penguin started, like, waddling next to him, too, and he's like, I'm the joke. I don't know. Is that the joke? That I'm the joke? Anyways, there was an old man. We're firing rapid fire at this point. There was an old man who lived by a forest. As he grew older and older, he started losing his hair until one day, on his deathbed, he was completely bald. It took him that long to be completely bald till he was on his deathbed, apparently. But that's not the point of the setup. The point of the setup was that day he called his children to a meeting. He said, "Look at my hair." Wait, I'm going to do an old man voice. "Look at my hair." And he's also from New York. "Look at my hair. It used to be so magnificent, but it's completely gone now. My hair can't be saved. But look outside the forest. It's such a lovely forest with so many trees. But sooner or later, they'll all be cut down and this forest will look as bald as my hair. What I want you to do," the man continued, "is every time a tree is cut down and dies, plant a new one in my memory. Tell your descendants to do the same. It shall be our family's duty to keep this forest strong." So they did. Each time the forest lost a tree, the children replanted one. So did their children, and their children after them. And for centuries, the forest remained as lush and pretty as it once was. All because of one man and his receding hairline. Hairline. No, that's a good one. It really hits because I'm balding is the main thing. But, I mean, only, balding squad, right? That's all of us. Anyways, is your refrigerator running? Because if so, I may vote for it. Yeah. Anyways, hey Dad, have you seen my sunglasses? No, son, have you seen my dad glasses? Come on, listen, that's a joke that you should have heard 10 years ago. Don't get mad at me because I just found it on Reddit and you're hearing it with your own ears right now, alright? Don't get mad at me. You decided to listen to this. Anyways, a soldier ran up to a nun. Out of breath, he asked, "Please, may I hide under your skirt? I'll explain later." The nun reluctantly agreed. A moment later, 2 military police ran up and asked, "Sister, have you seen a soldier?" The nun replied, "He went that way." After the MPs ran off, the military police, if you couldn't catch on to that lingo real quick. But after they ran off, the soldier crawled out from under the skirt and said, "I can't thank you enough, sister. You see, I don't want to go to Iraq." The nun said, "I completely understand." Then the soldier added, "Hope I'm not rude, but you have a great pair of legs." The nun replied, "If you had looked a little higher, you would have seen a great pair of balls. I don't want to go to Iraq either." Yeah, I don't want to go to Iraq. That seems like a surefire way to get out of it. You know, my Chinese waiter thinks, yeah, you know Finnish? My Chinese waiter thinks all white people look alike and gave my food to the wrong customer. Wait. Never mind, that wasn't my waiter. The top comment for this one is, when I was on a walking tour of a synagogue in Budapest, at one point the tour guide started talking about World War II events, and a Korean guy in the group raised his hand to ask a question. The question was, "I have a question about Anne Frank. Why didn't she just say she was German? Because you all look alike." On that day in 2009, my eyes were open. That's pretty cool. Alright, last one. It's a short one, and I saved it because I like it a lot. What do you call a book club that's been stuck on one book for years? Church. Alright. Thanks for listening. I love you, man. Okay, bye. I feel like that song is missing like a cheesy, like one line word that goes in the loop. That's part of the beat, which is like word, like just the word in there. Word, word, word.